back in the day, uh, law enforcement, if they could find an eyewitness to a crime, it was pretty much open and shut case, putting the criminal behind bars. You know, back then, law enforcement depended highly on credible eyewitness. You know, you have a person that has seen, or people who have seen the crime, and therefore, you know, that's, like I say, pretty much open and shut. But the problem is, we know today through neuroscience and other technology that that's not quite how our brain and mind work. I'm Gregory O. Henderson, Christian combat Vietnam veteran, Christ-centered coach, and I'm here to tell you, or try to explain to you, why you make some of the decisions you make in life. Here's what I mean. You know, you don't see a problem with the sense of sight, your eyes. That's how we think we see a problem, but that's not how our brain works. Our brain, when we come into a situation and it looks like a problem, our brain perceives the situation, tries to understand the situation, and then interprets the situation. So how your brain sees the problem is the problem. Now, I'm going to try to explain this a little bit more in depth, and I'm going to use a few drawings, if I may, and I'll try to explain exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to show you a drawing of a black and white drawing of a beautiful young lady, could be a countess or a model. And so what I want to do is, I'm going to show you this drawing. I'm going to stand up and show it to you. Here's a drawing of, like I say, a fine-looking young lady. Now here's a feather, here's her hat, her hair, her ear, her eyelash, a tiny little nose, and here's her chin and her jaw. And here's a necklace around her neck. Now you can take a screenshot of that if you want, but that was a drawing of a young lady. Or was it? Let's look at that again. Here's the feather, her hat, her hair, but instead of that being an ear, what if that was an eye? An eyelash, a bump on this old lady's nose. Here's her big nose. Here's her mouth, and here's her chin. But wait a second, it was a young lady at first, and now it's an old lady. Here's another drawing, and I've labeled a few things on it. Now look closely at it. The young lady, ear, nose, eyelash, chin, cheek, old lady, eye, big nose, mouth. So we have the same picture, but you can see two different images. Now, That makes it a bit confusing because I know some of you saw the young lady, but then some of you saw the old lady. But there's actually two pictures there. And I'm going to show you another drawing that's a little simpler. Here's a drawing of an old lady who looks like she's had a rough time of life, probably doesn't have a very positive attitude. Matter of fact, with the frown on her face, looks like she's probably a little disgusted, like a lot of us get to be. But as the picture or drawing changes, and you look at it at a different angle and direction, the old lady turns into a princess. Pretty amazing, right? It's all reality. All you're looking at is black and white spaces and lines. But your mind has perceived it to be specific. And it's perceived it to be that way because the brain has one function: to keep you alive for a long time, to survive. You've heard of the fight or flight syndrome. Hey, that's where it comes from. It comes from your survival instincts that your old brain up here is wired to keep you safe. You know, these drawings that I just showed you show you how when you look at a problem, it is the problem. Because, well, let's just take, for example, someone says something and I don't really like what they said. Then my emotions kick in and my survival mode kicks in, and hey, I get upset. And when I get upset, all the negative thoughts of every type that relate to that incident come into my mindset. And I presume it to be offensive or to be attacking me. And so I go into a survival mode, where in all reality, I may have misinterpreted what the person said to me. What I'm trying to say is there's always two sides to a situation, whether it's good or bad. And the main thing is, we, instead of stopping and thinking before we take action, we automatically react to situations from the outside, external situations, when all reality, that external situation could be an opportunity if we would just have stopped and thought about it and collected all our thoughts about the situation instead of reacting. You know, a lot of times we're in such a state with PTSD, with issues in finances, careers, our health, you know, all these issues we have in life, we tend to look at them negatively because that's how we've all been programmed. You know, and it gets to the point that we feel like, hey, I'm not good enough, and that's why I may be having all these issues. But the real truth is, you're fantastic. You're capable of anything that you want to do. You know, and whenever you start thinking that you're not good enough for something or to do something, I'm going to read what God Almighty has to say. You know, He's the one who created you. He knows what's inside of you. In Luke 12:22 through 24, Jesus Christ said, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat, nor about your body, what you will put on. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothing. Consider the ravens, they neither sow nor reap, they have neither storehouses nor barns, and yet God feeds them. Oh, how much more valuable are you than the birds?" Hey, you're valuable to God. So, what we need to do is start taking responsibility for the thoughts that are up here between our ears. You know, next time, I'm going to give you a little exercise that'll help you when you start getting stressed, anxious, uncertain about life and all these problems. And until then, what I want you to do is, if you liked what you heard, you know, subscribe to the channel. Go down to the links below. And if, you know, you want to talk more, just book a call with me. It's just an hour call with me. You know, it's a free call. We'll discuss things and issues maybe. And, you know, join me at Facebook on the Facebook group. Join the group and jump in with us. Hey, I love you. God bless you. And we'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.